This is WFYI News Now. It's June 10th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, more people living with HIV in Indiana will have access to supportive services with the opening of a new facility. A transitional housing complex in Indianapolis partially reopens less than a year after a fire damaged the property. And why some Indiana children will not be able to join the state-funded preschool program next year.
It's going to be a huge setback for Indiana because it took us a long time to build the systems, and then suddenly we're not going to be able to feed the system.
Those stories coming up, but first. Indiana is one of the states included in a Salmonella outbreak linked to eggs. The outbreak has been traced back to a California egg producer and has sickened at least 79 people. 21 hospitalizations were reported. Organic and cage-free brown eggs from August Egg Company with specific sell-by dates should be thrown away or returned to where they were purchased, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The eggs were distributed to Walmart locations in Indiana. The CDC report acknowledged that the number of sick people in the outbreak was likely much higher than the number reported. There have been major advances in healthcare since the outbreak of the HIV and AIDS epidemic in the 1980s, but the epidemic isn't over. WFYI's Zach Castle reports that more people living with HIV in Indiana will have access to supportive services with the opening of a new facility.
The Damien Center has been working to end the epidemic in Indianapolis since it was founded in 1987. On Wednesday, it opened the Mosaic building on the Near East Side. President and CEO Alan Witchey says the building expands the organization's supportive services.
Last year, our staff served more than 11,000 unique people. In this building, we will be able to serve, we think, 25,000 unique people.
The Damien Center provides medical care, STI testing, and mental health counseling. The new building more than doubles their medical exam rooms to 18 total, and they're adding a dental clinic. In 2022, more than 500 people in Indiana were diagnosed with HIV and 100 people with AIDS. I'm Zach Castle.
A transitional housing complex in Indianapolis will partially reopen this week, less than a year after a fire damaged the property. The Manchester Apartments North Tower, which is managed by Helping Veterans and Families, or HVAF, will house 23 local veterans. CEO of HVAF, Emmy Hildebrand, says the goal is to fill all units by the end of the month.
And knowing that there are so many veterans that need these vital services, we're really, really excited to join with our community and continue our mission to end veteran homelessness.
Organization officials have already begun the vetting process for occupants. Renovations on the South Tower, where the fire did the most damage, are expected to be complete next year. Originally, the building housed 48 veterans. The organization plans to showcase the repaired units at an event on Wednesday. It is open to the public, but people must RSVP. And for our final story today. Some Indiana children will not be able to join the state-funded preschool program next year. That's because Indiana will slash the available seats to less than half of the current enrollment. Dylan Pierce-McCoy reports advocates worry the cap will hurt many families.
On My Way Pre-K pays for 4-year-olds from low-income families to go to preschool. Indiana used temporary federal stimulus money to expand the program in recent years. These funds ran out, and state Republicans chose not to fill the gap. Hanan Osman leads the Indiana Association for the Education of Young Children.
It's going to be a huge setback for Indiana because it took us a long time to build the systems, and then suddenly we're not going to be able to feed the system.
State officials told WFYI in an email that the cap was necessary because the program had grown without sustainable funding. I'm Dylan Pierce-McCoy.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Daudelin and Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.